Welcome to the How to Heal podcast, the show where we explore real life stories and practical tools to thrive. I'm your host, Lindsay Tremarky Richter, and through over a 15-year journey of all things healing, I'm here to hook it up. If you're feeling overwhelmed, looking for a deeper connection, or straight up in a psycho-spiritual crisis, I got you covered. Let's unearth your unique elixir to purpose, peace, and progress. Here we go. What's up, people? So energy. What is energy? So I've been talking this whole time about physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual energetics, and I have yet to define the term energetics. So this is the episode that's going to go into what that means. And this is really the thing about this podcast that excites me the most, is really drilling down on how we can harness the energy that we are born with. And that's really my first point, is that energy is innate. You are born with the energetics and the energy of who you are as a soul, right? We want to talk about like what we're meant to do here this time around. That's what we're talking about with energy. What our gifts are, what our passion is, what comes easily to us, what makes us magnetic, what draws people to us. This is our energy. So when we're born, we are pushed into circumstances that then require us to deviate from our natural rhythms, typically, especially in Western culture and non-Indigenous cultures, where we have to assimilate to society and the norms and what has been put on the culture of said specific person. Right. So what happens is we're pulled from who we really are. We're pulled from this innate energy of who we really are to sort of make up for the circumstances. So if we're pulled in a circumstance of, whether it's good or bad, we come into life circumstances. Those life circumstances change us, require us to be something that is not so natural for the societal norms. And then the goal of life, in my opinion, and in a lot of people's opinions, guys, is to come back to yourself. So last night, my husband and I were watching Mad Men. He's never seen it. And I'm like, I don't know why you haven't seen it. Let's watch it. And there's a scene where Don Draper is talking whether or not people can change. And I asked my husband, I said, do you think people can change? And he thought about it. And I responded while he was thinking about it. And I said, I think just what I just said. I think people are hit with life circumstances, go further away from themselves, make mistakes, learn, and then ultimately the journey is to come back to yourself. And his short answer was that no, I do not think people can change. I agree with what you said, but I don't think people can change. And I felt a little disheartened by his answer, but as I was getting ready to record this episode, what I realized is that we are innately who we are. We are born innately as who we are. We are here for a very specific reason this time around, to have the gifts, to attract the people, to be magnetic to the circumstances that are going to afford us the liberties of bestowing our unique gifts to the world and making the world a better place. So in that respect, no, people don't change because energy is innate. So I want to talk about a really practical way to harness your energy, because that is really what this episode is going to be about. practical ways to harness your energy because we can talk about this in theory all we want, but the majority of people are like, WTF is energy and how do I harness it? And like, what is that even? Why do I even care about this? So, for me personally, I'm extremely physically inclined to move my way through the world. I am drawn to athletics and anything physical. So I want to talk about my experience with energy and yoga that has occurred over years and years of practice. When I started practicing yoga, I started really consistently practicing almost every day when I was living in Williamsburg at a studio called Modo Yoga, which I loved. Modo was the bomb, and I'm sure it's still there. I think it's on Metropolitan. I'll confirm that in the notes. So Modo Yoga is a warm yoga studio where it was mostly vinyasa classes, at least that I took. And when I started practicing consistently every day, is when I started to thread together my thoughts, my physical balance and alignment, and my emotions all together. And yoga um, is a very individualized practice. It's not a team sport. You're not playing with other people. This is like your own thing. So in its nature, it is a spiritual practice, although a lot of people would argue that it is not spiritual the way it has been westernized. But regardless, it really pulls together all of the four pillars that I talk about prior to this episode. And what would happen was I would be thinking about a circumstance, maybe I'd be in a posture, and then all of a sudden, very naturally, a circumstance that I felt insecure in, maybe at work or a person that I was insecure with or just uncertain of, would come up. And what I would do is I would practice my balancing while maintaining the thoughts and emotions of what this person brought up inside of me. So physically, I would be increasing my resilience from my negative self-talk and maybe emotional response to this situation. And that was extremely empowering and felt like a way to, and still feels like a way to moderate and sort of manipulate and take back my energy. Now, I go to yoga class twice, 3 days a week typically. And yoga's so awesome for me. I love yoga. It really has been my biggest teacher. And it's for different reasons every time. I'll just go in a studio and people will be picking up on my energy immediately. And I just need to be very conscious of what I'm putting out there because candidly, because I have big vibes. I have a big look. I'm tall. I'm attractive. I'm white. Like I feel that that comes with a lot of assumed privilege and a lot of just loud entitlement. And I definitely know that that comes along with me in certain circumstances and I need to be respectful when people misinterpret who I am. And I'm pretty forgiving, but I do have to also check that without being like, hey, I'm being insecure. I'm making myself small. I'm not standing in my truth and I'm not honoring myself because I'm inherently bad or I'm inherently entitled or I'm inherently, privileged. But That is also like those are also learning lessons when I step into on a yoga mat next to somebody who maybe is feeling these things about me, and me having to remain neutral and not get mad and not take it personally and not get in my head and not feel like anger and to remain neutral. It's so difficult because with white privilege comes the inherent response of that anger, that rejection, that dismissal, that entitlement. And again, I caveat that by saying, girl, I have been insecure for a lot of my life. And I've done a lot of things in my life that have been completely out of thinking that I was not good enough, feeling like I was not good enough. So I'm not trying to say here that there's not a balance. There is. But those are the types of circumstances where you have to watch your energy because a lot of what's going on, especially in our society with different ethnicities and racism and all, is unspoken. It's felt. So this is why energy is so important. So I'm going to take a step back. I know I got a little intense there, but that's where the conversation went. And we're going to talk about different energy healing modalities. Just off the top of my head, I'm thinking of acupuncture, chiropractic adjustments, reiki, different kinds of massages, whether it's, reflexology or Feldenkrais or a bunch of massage period. When you really get a good massage therapist who's able to read energy, you're just like there. Hopefully you're able to meet them and you're just like really riding that wave. I actually had a massage in Manchester, Vermont at the Equinox Spa, and this woman had like red hair and she was awesome. And I wish I just want to find her again and get another massage. But she said something to me where it was kind of over my head at the time, but she's like, this is gonna get awkward, but we're just gonna go there. And I didn't know what she meant, but now I understand that she was just like really getting into my hips where you hold a lot of emotional tension. So, reconnection method, what other we working with crystals, even breath work, chakra healing. These are all different types of energy medicine. The Akashic records, which is basically an energetic imprint of all that has and all that will be. It's sort of like an energetic encyclopedia Britannica that forecasts the future. I'm actually going to have someone on here to talk about the Akashic records, which I'm so excited about. But so stay tuned for that. But these energy modalities, energy healing modalities, really help you get back to the core of who you are. I worked with a healer closely who was teaching Qigong, medical Qigong. Qigong is like Chinese movement modality that's kind of like tai Chi, but like basically harnesses your energy through intentional movement over and over again. I guess that's the best I can explain it. And he said that the way to know that you're helping someone heal energetically is that during and after the session, they are as calm as a baby. And that's why after you get a massage or you get really good acupuncture, you feel just really zen and calm and detached from heightened emotions. And I love energy healing. This is one of the reasons that I started this podcast because I think that energy healing has really been a fascination of mine for such a long time. I actually skipped my first class at graduate school to attend an energetic healing demonstration at Namaste Bookshop on 14th Street. And I was so fascinated. I was like, I cannot believe that they're doing this. I have to see this. So I did. I skipped my first class at NYU and I was just like, okay, this is not the most rational decision, but this decision I feel in my bones must happen. And, you know, I think many times we're stuck in routine of being like, okay, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to do my meditation, I'm going to do a cold plunge, I'm going to juice, I'm going to, whatever your morning routine is of all these things to check off the to-do list. But that those things are great. If you have a routine that's supporting you to feel grounded, I am encouraging you to continue to do that, but I'm asking you to remain open to the fact that routine should afford you with a level of homeostasis where you feel like you can listen to the urges of who you really are at the core that guide you to the people and the circumstances that are going to let you be more of who you are. So, I think that again, energetically, we want to be able to, we want to use these healing modalities to get to the homeostasis, to come back to the original energy of who we are so that we can live in peace, in progress, and in purpose. I mentioned that in my intro. That's the name of the game. So I have a story to tell. When I was working in one of my first jobs, it was a toxic work environment at the end. It was just really like I needed to get out of there, but I hadn't opened any doors for myself energetically yet. Um, they were about to open, but I had been reporting to a couple different people, and I was sitting in an office, in a small office with one of the guys that I worked for. And all of a sudden, I had this pounding sensation in my left ear and it would not stop. And it was painful and it was uncomfortable and it was not like anything I had ever felt before. It was a very visceral feeling. It was like, hello, I'm here and I'm not fucking leaving. And and I knew instinctually, like intuitively, I'm like, it's this person that I'm sitting across from. Like, I'm getting vibes from this person that are not congruent. And that's what I ended up like. That was the first time I experienced that, but immediately upon leaving the room, it went away. So, but I was just like, oh, what was that? And unfortunately, it came back again and again and again in different circumstances. And anyone who knows me knows that I have this ear thing. And it happens both in my left and in my right ear. So when it started just in my left ear and I could tell this is like I don't want to say it's like an incongruency is the best way that I can describe it. It is I'm just going to say negative incongruency. And then when I have it in my right ear, it's almost like a positive incongruency. So it's like too much in one direction or too much negative or too much positive. Once I felt the right ear ringing, which took me a while to feel, it felt so relieving because it felt like a balance in my energy where I was like, oh, thank God the right ear exists. And that was at the time where I just started dating someone. I was about to get it like my new dream job and like everything was really sort of falling into place. But those physical sensations have really required me to become quiet and listening to what is going on. Because sometimes those ear poundings are really inopportune times where with people that I don't want them to be with. I've learned now if I get a right ear where I'm like in the kitchen and all of a sudden I can basically just clear the energy, whether it's like snapping the energy, clapping the energy, or like wafting, like clearing the energy, it'll go away. Sometimes it's just not my shit. And sometimes it's just other people's shit that I'm picking up on. And, I think it can be inconvenient, but it's also, it has been a tremendous learning for me. I have so many stories about energy healing that I'm going to save for a different day. But like, just before I leave you guys with the theme of these stories that I'm thinking about, it's sort of like a conglomerate of energy. Like when you have energy healing, you take like a pile of the negative mass and you disperse it. And that's how you clear negative energy. And I'm not an energy healer. I will bring on different healers to talk about this because I love this. I think this is the coolest thing ever. I don't know why we're not like using this at our disposal, because so many of us are going to like Western medicine doctors looking for all the answers when it's actually like an energetic issue, or like, all the other pillars that I talk about, but it's like a deeper layered issue that has to do with physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, all the things. So, like, why are we not using these energy healers more? And why is this not more mainstream so that we can really get in touch with what's going on? We have to be open, guys. We have to be open to new ways of thinking and being and healing. Like, that's what this is about. It's fun. It's fun. Like, stop being superstitious, stop being scared, stop being closed minded, stop being judgmental. Like, step into a place where you're learning something that you have no idea what you're doing or what you're talking about. Let someone teach you and then integrate it slowly, slowly. Like, I'm not asking somebody to like go and be a psychic. But like, go get a tarot reading, go get a Reiki treatment, go like try different energy modality, different energy healings, and start to piece together what you like, what you don't like, what resonates with you, what doesn't, and keep going. Because this is what's going to bring us to our next level in our new world. So I love you. Stay in touch with yourself, stay in touch with your energy, and I'll see you in the next episode.